Hello and welcome to the weekly Shakeout of Paula's Run Club with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson.
And this is brought to you by HIGH5. A huge thank you to them for their support. Don't forget that you can head to high5.co.uk and use the discount code Paula25 and get 25% off all of the HIGH5 fueling and hydration goodies that are available to you on there. And this gives us a great opportunity to get to as many of your questions as we can do. Apologies if we're not keeping up. We are going to try and rattle through them a little bit to catch up on them. But thank you for sending in all your questions. Just a reminder at the top of the show that the way to do that is by email, paula's.runclub@momentumbroadcast.co.uk, or on socials at Paula's Run Club, or via the WhatsApp number +44 7564 747 914.
Perfect. So efficient, Paula. Well done. Should we crack on with the first one?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. Right, so this comes in from Ben. Hi, Paula and Tomo. Love the podcast. I've been a keen runner all my life, and at 50, struggling with regular injuries. So your Shakeout episodes are fantastic help. Thank you very much. Let's hope we can help you here. My question relates to my son, who has truly caught the running bug. He's now 17 and has just run an hour 16 half marathon. Wow. And is targeting 33 minutes for 10k in the next few weeks. He does one training session on the track per week and has just started to increase his weekly running to 50k a week. I have a couple of questions. Given his age, the times he's achieving and the level of training he's been doing, do you think he has potential to take this even more seriously? He's very keen to do a marathon as soon as he's 18. I think he's better focusing on 10k and half marathon at his age. Plenty of time to move up to a marathon when he's older. What do you think? Love to get your expert thoughts on these. I think you're how to tackle this. I think I'd agree with that kind of, especially at this early, not just early age, but early stage of his training, to focus on the shorter distances, because as you use the words, there's plenty of time in the future to do a marathon. And I think personally, I think that's absolutely right. And again, a key part of rationale behind that is because of you're asking the question about taking it more seriously, because I think marathons are, for some people, a sense of achievement, and some people it's a sense of progression to run the best they can. And I think because there's a in this email there's a sense of trying to get the best out of himself. I think giving more time to the shorter distances will help you do that in the future for the marathon. I definitely think, based on the information we have here, there's plenty of reasons to keep focus on it. There's no exact source of what is a reason to take it more seriously or what gives you a greater potential other than your own desire at that age to do more and keeping it fun. Because I think when you're 17, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to be thinking about. And I think the question of what is a good performance in the future or not is not necessarily a thing you need to worry about. It's, am I enjoying it? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Do I want to do more of this? How can I do a manageable amount? And if you can answer and execute those questions, the times and the performances will come off the back of it. So I'm a little bit kind of hesitant to say take more seriously, because I think when you get older as an athlete, we can learn a lot from being younger when you don't have to take things as seriously. And I think rather than coining it more seriously, I would coin it a bit more of how can I kind of learn more or educate myself of what training and running and what more I can do, rather than more seriously, because seriously has a kind of a tint of kind of expectation that I kind of like to steer away from when it comes to the younger runner. What do you think, Paula?
No, absolutely. I think to answer the first question, and it's a great question, do you think he has the potential to take it even more seriously? I absolutely am a big believer in, if he wants to, the potential is there. The big question is what he wants to do, and to keep the focus on having fun and enjoying the running. From the information that Ben's given us, he's not overtraining, he's not doing too much by any means for a 17-year-old, which is great. Keep the focus on quality. By all means, try a marathon, but I wouldn't up the the mileage significantly at that age. And I think that's the big change that we're really seeing coming in now with the improvements in shoes, with the improvements in fueling, is that people are able to turn to the marathon with success and with a positive, fun experience younger. And so I think the big question is around what he wants to do and where he wants to take it. And keep supporting him as you are doing, Ben, and looking out for his best interests, which is absolutely what you're doing. Keep the emphasis on fun and enjoying his running. And good luck to him. I don't have his name, but good luck to the son of Ben. And the next question comes in from Michelle Chadwick. Hi, Paula and Tomo. Love the podcast. It's kept me sane while I navigate injury, listening to the advice and living my running life vicariously through all of the interactions and interviews. She was diagnosed with a metatarsal stress fracture in April, spent much of 2025 sidelined and has become best friends with a spin bike and spent most of the summer sweating in the garage, unfortunately, rather than running outside with friends and club mates. But through that diagnosis, she found out that she was pregnant, which was a great bonus to have in the middle of that, and probably, I guess, might have helped the injury heal a little bit. So certainly able to her to focus what energy she did have in the early stages, early trimesters, on rehabbing and cross-training. She managed a short return to run program from August to September, about 4 months after the diagnosis of the fracture, got back up to running 30 minutes continuously until the pelvic pain kicked in with the pregnancy, and every 8 minute or every 5 minute wee stops were becoming a little bit too much. Know that feeling all too well. So she decided to hang up her running shoes again for the foreseeable future, and her question is, aptly directed at me, I guess, but we can bring your experience with Gemma in on this, of course, as well. Directed towards, with having had 2 children, would appreciate any advice on how you would recommend her surviving this last trimester in terms of training to try and keep herself fit and strong from a cardio perspective and strength training, and then how to get a swift return. She is currently continuing on the bike and contemplating the elliptical now that her foot is healed. That's a good thing at this point. We'll come to that later on. And 4 to 5 times a week, ranging from 60 to 70 minutes. So my advice would largely focus on making sure that you listen to your body through this, Amy. And first of all, congratulations, and enjoy this period and really do what you feel able to do based around how much weight is on your bladder, how much bouncing is happening to your bladder, as we talked about, and that how your fueling recovery, just generally how you feel in that final trimester, remembering that all of the training, even if it's walking, spin bike, elliptical, is good at this point. I don't massively advise the elliptical in the return to running post-birth. Because it's one of the lessons that I learned the hard way. The elliptical is one of those exercises that actually stresses your sacrum more than running. So when you build that in as a cross training, you're not actually taking away impact from the sacrum bone, and you are kind of at risk still in that immediate post-baby period for sacral stress fractures. So I would advise stick with the elliptical through the back end of the pregnancy, but when you're returning, go back to the spin bike and then gradually build up running. Keep the focus on immediately Kegel exercises, pelvic floor exercises, and then gradually building up. But don't forget to enjoy that very special time, bonding time with baby, get them settled into a good sleep pattern, and then think about gradually building up your running, because all of those happy hormones will still be there, and you will be able to use those to great effect. So take your time, enjoy that period, and congratulations.
Yeah. The only thing I would add for Gemma's first pregnancy was in that last trimester we both have sort of said, like, she came on a bike and ran with me, and it was just possibly a bit too much. Mm-hmm. There's exercising, but being sympathetic to how hard it is in that final kind of trimester to not kind of overdo it, like in terms of so that you kind of your blood sugars and stuff get really hit, and you're trying to fuel the baby and yourself as much as you can. And obviously, especially around cycling, you can't feel the impact that has on your body, like running does. Especially if you're used to running, you go cycling, and it's harder to feel tired, I think, is what I'm trying to say. So just be mindful of that, I think, because again, certainly I think Gemma kind of came back from a couple of bike rides a bit more exhausted than she imagined she would be, because she wasn't running, because she was trying to get off her feet, and it ended up being actually, still heart rate being raised for a long time. But anyway. But
and also
congratulations.
be mindful of the fact that you do need to stay very well hydrated.
Yes.
It's really, really important through that final trimester. So even if you're cross-training, you maybe think, well, I'm not running, so do I need to hydrate as much? If you are indoors cross-training, and in fact, wherever you are working out, you do need to be aware that you are still losing hydration there. So keep topping that up little and often.
Perfect. Right, this one comes in from Marie. I love your podcast, so informative and inspirational. Thank you so much. No, thank you. Honestly, it really does. I feel like we start these off, and it's like praising ourselves. But honestly, it's so lovely that people say this. It really does. It is so nice of you guys. Thank you so much for all you listeners for saying that. But I have a question regarding my nutrition on race day. Oh, that's apt for an episode we just did. I was hoping for my PB in my 10k race on Sunday. For context, I'm a 49-year-old female who has been running for about 15 years. But I've recently, and we've just got an email come through, I won't read that one, but I've recently started taking it more seriously. My training has not been going great, as I've been struggling to hit paces for my interval sessions. Having said that, today I fueled prior to my run with a coffee and had a great session where I felt strong and fast. However, I also experienced some GI issues which would be potentially disastrous on race day. Can I please ask for your advice on this? Should I try coffee or not prior to the race? Today I drank a double shot about 45 minutes before I started running. I look forward to hearing from you, Marie. Do you want to start that, Paula?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really, really good question, Marie. And I think there are lots of things that tie into this. It might be worth going back and having a listen to Dr. Nick giving us the advice through the perimenopause area, because it's kind of, you're in that zone as well. And coffee can actually sometimes help hugely and also negatively affect you sometimes. It sounds like from your experience here, Marie, you've had a positive effect on performance, but then we are a little bit more susceptible, I think, to those GI issues. So I would 100% advise trying it in training and getting comfortable with kind of that balance between taking it and where the GI effects kind of kick in according to what race you're getting ready for as well. You mentioned a 10k race PB. I don't know if you're going longer. That's when it becomes much harder in terms of the timing of the caffeine. The other thing that you can look at trying is a little bit longer before, so you almost have time, without being too graphic, to stimulate your gut, to empty that out, and then go and do your training workout, and still get the benefits of that little burst in energy surge that will come from the caffeine. So my advice would be 100% to play around with it during your training and during your training sessions and your more important training sessions, to find what works best on race day. We also have a great episode that's going to actually drop, I think, on Monday, where Dr. Wendy Rogers will give us some information on how best to utilise caffeine in your training cycle and how to work out if it works for you. So that's my short and sweet advice, is try it in training and work out the best time.
I can actually remember the first time I had coffee. Like, I wasn't a coffee drinker until I got to about 24, 25, maybe 23. I can't remember exactly. It's too long ago. Almost another millennium ago. But I was on a training camp with Mo Farah, and he always drank coffee through his teenage years. And one morning I had a coffee before a session, and I just felt like 6 inches taller in the session. And I was like, wow. But again, to your point, Paula, was it has side effects that you have to kind of find in yourself. And I think there's no doubt coffee has a help to performance, but there are things around that extra hydration, like you say, your stomach getting used to it, timings, they're all experimental. But I certainly think coffee is something that I never got past one. Like one coffee, I was only ever a one coffee person. If I have a second, I always feel a bit jittery. Some people can have 4 or 5 in a day, but it's all kind of how it works for you. I know But I know one athlete that would take on effectively 6 or 7 cups across a marathon, and that's just,
I think
to me, that's too much, way too
well,
much.
it's everybody's individual, and
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned is caffeine is one of those things that actually in your genetic makeup you either are tolerant to it or you're not. So that's why some people can tolerate so much more than others, but then the GI effects kind of come in alongside that. So when I did the testing, I'm actually very, very tolerant to caffeine, but I would still get a GI side effects if I had too much of it. So it's about generating that balance. And you're absolutely right. If you have not had it before, it gives you a bigger performance boost, which I think it sounds like that's what Marie had. And what I used to do before children, after children I needed one every day. Before children, I just used to have the coffee before an important workout, and then of course before race day. But it is important to try it before those workouts, because you don't want to be hit with the sudden negative effects of it on race day if you're not used to those. So it's about trying it out beforehand, without a doubt. And good luck, Marie.
Cool.
So the next one, trying to rattle through these as quickly. This one comes with an apology because Nicholas actually ran the Dublin Marathon, not this weekend, but the weekend before. Yes. Apologies, this is coming in late, but hopefully it's still going to help you and it's still going to have a happy ending to you. So Nicholas De Georgis is an Italian expat living in Ireland and getting ready for the Dublin Marathon. 2025 has been a breakthrough year for him, with personal bests falling at every distance. And looking forward to Dublin, he finds himself in a fortunate but delicate position in terms of the fact that he ran Dublin last year in 3:17.12. At the beginning of this year, he would have been thrilled with a sub 3:10, maybe even 3:5. However, after running a 1:18 half, huge round of applause, after a good block of training, he and his coach now believe that sub 2:50 is definitely achievable, and perhaps even 2:45. That would mean around a 30-minute PB, which I think was daunting him a little bit. So his question really centred around, how do you handle that, Tomo, when you are coming in, on the one hand, extremely mentally up for the race because you're excited about the form that you're in, but that with itself brings a little bit of pressure with it too, doesn't it? So how do you judge that?
I'm going to see if I can find his result quickly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, got him. Oh, my word. 2 hours 45.
Excellent.
No way. Oh, wow. Yes, 2 hours 45. He did it.
That is, such a phenomenal performance, Nicholas. So obviously no need for our answer there, is there?
That should be on his board.
Yeah, he did. We might push that over to a future honours board for you, Nicholas. But that is a phenomenal performance, and hopefully that has really encouraged you moving forward. And just whatever you did, you handled it perfectly. So I don't know whether we need to worry too much about that. But for anybody coming in, because I do understand it can be really scary, can't it, Tomo, when you're coming into a race and you are putting that pressure on yourself because you know how ready you are. And it almost becomes a little bit too much to bear. I mean, the best example I've got is when I was only 18 and I went to Boston for the World Cross Country Championships. And before I got on the plane, my physiologist, Andy Jones, who we've had on the podcast, handed me an envelope with my recent testing that was done just a couple of weeks before the race to read through. And I read through that I was in the best shape of my life and there was basically nothing stopping me going out and challenging right at the front of the race. And I was at the same time so scared but really excited, and I can remember almost bursting into tears with those nerves. And it's always a good thing to remember that nerves are a good thing. They mean the race matters to you. They help you to get some more out of yourself in terms of that adrenaline firing a little bit more, but you do need to keep them under control. So anything that you can do in terms of listening to music, hanging out with friends, watching a movie, reading a book is what I always used to do back in the olden days. They all help to kind of keep a lid on those nerves until you actually need that adrenaline in the race itself. But well done, Nicholas. That's made our day, hasn't it? Made our podcast.
I'm buzzing. I'm really proud. I'm really pleased I found him. That's such a just to clarify, it was a 2 hours 45 34 chip time and 2 hours 45 49 finishing time. And that's exactly what it's so incredible how I now believe sub 250 and even 245. And that's the thing that you've hit the nail on the head, Paula, of that nerve of expectation that we can do something should be a thing of support, and actually your job is not to get yourself amped up, it's to keep relaxed, and all those mechanisms that help you do that, everything you just said, Paula, is take confidence, and there's nothing more you need to do other than get yourself to the start line in one piece, rather than have I done enough, or questioning any of that. It's yes, you have, so use that as a reason to keep yourself as calm as possible. But I'm buzzing. That's so good. Yeah. I'm almost glad we didn't read it before the race now. It's absolutely brilliant. Nicholas, well done. We need to get you on the honours board, and we will do. Right. After that dramatic 5 minutes, we'll have to edit that down just to like I found it instantly. But okay. Oh, how do I... Matisse. Okay. This comes in from Matisse. Hi, Paula and Tomo, or Chris, sorry, should I say. I always share your pod with runner friends. Thank you very much. Word of mouth is perfect, as it has helped me so much by keeping me sane and grounded when I struggle during training. That being said, I want to ask a question for a friend, and I'm sure she will hear it, as I've recommended the podcaster to as well. Hi, friend. We have trained a lot together these last 2 years, including 2 marathon plans. Even though she's training even more consistently, joined an athletics club and cross-training more, she feels there is no improvement. Worse, her best marathon result was 4 years ago at 4 hours and 2. And her subsequent marathons have all been slower. She's a little bit lost at what to change to make the training have an effect. At the moment, she runs 4 times a week and does 2 sessions in the gym, totaling around 40k. Any help would be amazing, and maybe get... Marge out of her funk. Sorry, Marge, I want to help. Bless you. Thank you for the energy you two bring to the podcast.
Oh, that is a lovely
Have I said
question,
that right? Is it Marie?
I think you have, Marja. It's either Marge or Marja.
I'm so sorry if I butchered the name. I feel terrible. Any help be amazing, and maybe get Marja out of her funk. Sorry, Marja, I want to help. Thank you for the energy you two bring to the podcast.
No, I think that's lovely. I think it's lovely, and hats off to Matisse for getting in touch to ask for that question on behalf of your training partner. I mean, I think there's a lot of things to look at, aren't there, Tomo? You can look at all-round health. Is there something, are you a little bit anemic? Are you a little bit depleted in something? And that's maybe stopping you getting the full effect out of the training that you're putting in. Are you getting enough rest and recovery? Are you at that stage of life where your sleep's being affected, and that's maybe taking away from it a little bit? And if so, look at those things that you can do to improve the recovery side of it. Perhaps listen to the episode on fueling and recovery, help make sure you get enough sleep, hydration, things like that. And what do you think, Tomo, about just maybe putting a bit varied pace in the week as well?
Well, I was exactly going to say that. I think one of the things I'd love to know is it just the marathon that's not improving, or is it all distances? Because a good marker to look at would be if she's improving over 5k, 10ks, and it's not translating to the marathon, then I would suggest that the missing link may be around the long runs and potentially fueling and all the things that Paula said. If she's just not improving across all kind of events, then I would look at basically spice in life is the best formula, mixing things up. So I would have a play around with what she's doing in training. So that would be my point, is are there things she is improving at and therefore not others? Therefore it's about applying what she is improving at into the marathon, or is it a case of across the board things aren't quite, and therefore it's about, because again, joining a club, being more consistent, and I hear it a lot around just being consistent is key. While I agree with that, it's actually being consistent at the right thing, because if you're consistently doing the wrong thing, that then consistently doesn't work. It's got to be consistently doing as much of the right thing as you can. So I would play around with things like that and think about that, and I would encourage you to Marge to write in and send us in what you're doing, and let us look at what a typical training plan looks like for you, and we could comment more specifically on the type of sessions you're doing. So Matthias, encourage her to write in with a bit more details, and we might be able to look into it a little bit more.
Okay, right, so moving on to the next one, and good luck with that, Marish. For this one comes in from Claire, and Claire had actually been in touch just before Amsterdam, so she is very nicely letting us know that she was very happy. She finished the Amsterdam Marathon in a time of 4 hours 19, first one ever, and absolutely loved it. All of the training came into good use, the crowds were so loud the whole way around. Unfortunately, and this is what her question centres on, she was in a start wave that was too slow for her. So she had to do a lot of overtaking and kind of weave around people. On the other hand, she talks about the fact that it did help her to feel good because, of course, when you're passing people all the time, that gives you a little bit of a psychological boost. And the bonus being that it holds you back a little bit, doesn't it, in the first part of that marathon. So she says, the podcast was extremely useful through the training period. Thank you to you and Chris and all the interesting guests. Yeah, a huge thank you to all of our amazing guests. Next question is, when would be a good time to start looking for a half marathon and then definitely another marathon in the year to come? So I guess what she's asking is, how long does she need off? Because you can start looking now, but it's how long you need off before you start getting ready for that next build-up. And then what to do if you find yourself in a slower wave at the start line, Tomo?
I think, again, it comes a lot down to individuality of like the amount you're training. Because I mean, on the one extreme, I'm seeing elite athletes running a marathon and then 6 weeks later doing another one and actually running even quicker. Now, that's a very extreme example. So I would say your body will tell you when you're ready to start up again, and then once you start up again, you want to give yourself time to get back into training to then work 12 weeks, 16 weeks back from doing another one. So I would say, conservatively speaking, I would say, 2 a year for generally for people is probably about as many as you want to be looking at, because of the amount of time you can dedicate to building up marathon tolerance or marathon resilience. It's a bit of a a crude, dark art example to say there's an exact number, but it really does come down to your own personal amount that you're doing. And I'll let you answer that better, Paula, as well. But I do feel like that you do see people doing crazy numbers in a year, but they are running a heck of a lot week to week to be able to do that. As far as the overtaking bit at the start and how to handle that, I had this conversation with an athlete I was working with, and their biggest challenge was around not getting stressed, especially around the start when it is very congested and you are spending almost a lot of energy chopping your stride, worrying about I need to be at this certain pace, but the crowd in front of me. And I can't emphasize enough how much that first half an hour is about trying to not panic or try and force yourself into a situation that the ground around you doesn't allow, and almost treat it as a way to hold yourself back so that when things work you can just take off and go and use it. But it applies to every athlete. You pick your moments when you can run hard, and you don't get stressed or panic or force things when you can't.
Totally, and I would absolutely back that up. I think it's a great way to come out of your first marathon that you actually predicted a time that was too slow and you found yourself having to come through these. I think it's a bonus that it held you back in the first part of the race. And as you talked about, those positive vibes that you get from constantly moving past people rather than having people constantly moving past you, I think are a huge psychological plus. And you can take all of that energy into the next one. You now have a better idea of what you're capable of, so you will be in a better placed wave come the next marathon. I would advocate tapping into all of those positive feelings, and the bonus being that moving forward you will next time have a good idea of where your marathon time is, so you will be in the correct start wave and surrounded by similar ability people, so you won't have as big a problem, I think, in the next one. And advising, I would give yourself a good 5 weeks to fully recover, build back into training, and then perhaps another 3 weeks or so before you could be really thinking about trying to look at another half marathon, and then longer again for the marathon. And I think the time frames that Tom mentioned are really good, and the most important thing is take your time looking at them and pick a marathon that kind of lights a little bit of that passion fire that makes you want to go and do it, because you're going to need to tap into that and all the happy experience memories from Amsterdam to take you forward. And good luck with that, Claire, and thank you for getting in touch.
Thank you.
Quick short ones from the text now. This one comes in from Yoko Olafs. And listening to the stories about REDs and the importance of recovery, it made me wonder if you feel tired when you wake up and you feel you need an ad hoc rest day, but then by the time that session comes around, or the time for your session comes around in the afternoon, you feel better. Should you still do your session, or should you go with the morning feeling and take the rest day? What do you think, Tomo?
That's a tough one, because again, our perception of how we feel in the morning can be off, because I never feel great when I'm not a morning person by definition. But I think that if you're someone who looks at heart rates and looks at other markers, if it's a superficial reason why you're tired because you've woken up a bit dehydrated, you can offset that, become the evening. If it's fueling, you can do something about it. If it's more like an adrenal kind of, you're ill or you are in a bit of a hole, then I would advise not to. But I think as you get an hour up into your day, 2 hours up, reading your body can be a bit easier. And generally speaking, in my experience, if I start to feel like I can in the afternoon, that's a good sign that, if there was something worse happening, I probably wouldn't feel like that. But again, it's about looking at your own markers and thinking about and just figuring out what's your sign that it's probably not a good idea and what is. But I think that initial 5 minutes of waking up, I think we all can feel a little bit like, but it's what's that deep inner fatigue versus what's that superficial, I've just laid on my back for hopefully 8 hours, if that's what you're getting.
I mean, put it this way, Yoko, your initial feeling, you're never going to do yourself any harm by taking an extra rest day. So if you're not sure, absolutely go with the rest day. If you're feeling much, much better, then that's when, as Tomo said, kind of look at those other indicators. So things like morning pulse. If it's more than 7-8 beats up above your norm, I would still stick to that rest day and just give yourself that extra time. If it was only a couple of beats, and as Thomas said, you maybe just didn't sleep right, weren't well fueled or hydrated, and it's something that you can rectify in time for the afternoon session, then there isn't any harm in going on and doing that. Equally, if you are running a fever, you shouldn't go out and do that session. Even though you might feel okay because of the fever, it's better to take that rest day and give your body all the time that it needs to recover. And just to underline again, you won't ever do any harm by taking a rest day. By pushing on and doing the session, you might just do yourself harm. So if you're not sure, err on the side of rest day. If you're feeling really, really great, go out, warm up and see if you're still feeling really, really great, and then maybe go for the session then.
I just want to add, rereading it as well, because it's related to asking about RED and the importance of recovery. Just to kind of quantify that a little bit, like things like REDs and like that deep inner fatigue is a build up over a long time. So it's, if you continue to ignore signs that you shouldn't be doing sessions, that is a digging of a hole over a long period of time, not just a day or two or even a week. That is weeks, months of not listening to those signs. I shouldn't do something. So as Paula says, if you feel like if for one day you didn't listen and you still did the session and then look back and thought, I should have taken a rest day, then turning that around won't take long. It's if you continuously ignore over long periods of time. So just be mindful that day to day listening to your body, sometimes you'll get it right, sometimes you won't. As long as you're not consistently kind of always ignoring and always just doing it regardless, that's when it can become an issue over time. I
think that's unfortunately about all we've got time for in this episode.
No,
do you want to do one more?
No, I'm joking. I'm just doing I'm just doing what the audience are doing right now, which is, we want more.
Do you want to squeeze another one in quickly or not? Have we got time?
I
No.
don't. I bless.
I think we
I don't.
actually probably have. We're over, aren't we?
I think we
already?
are over because
Yeah.
usually we're pretty strict with 30 minutes. So yeah,
I will just cheekily squeeze in one last thing, and it's not actually meant to be in now, it's meant to be in the honours board, but while I'm here, so my son is racing in just a local cross-country schools race today. My husband's there watching it, and I've just received a message that a friend of ours, young Arthur Campbell, who was very, very nervous about his first ever cross-country race, has wound up third in the under 13 race. So huge shout out to Arthur.
It's news just in, is that?
That is news just in. It's just popped up in front of me as I'm talking now. So a
No
little
wonder you
bit
got
of
a
an
big beamer, you got a big
unofficial
smile.
honours board mention to Arthur Campbell.
Nice, excellent.
Made my day. Right, so that wraps up the weekly shakeout there. And thank you so much for all of your questions. As we said, we will get around to them. Thank you to HIGH5. Remember, that discount code is Paula25. If you head to their website, high5.co.uk, you can take full advantage of that. Congratulations to everybody. And if you want to get in touch, that number again is +44 7564 747 914. Emails to Paula's Run Club at momentumbroadcast.co.uk and on socials at Paula's Run Club. And we look forward to getting to more of your questions next Thursday. Thank you for listening.
See you later, guys.